with Cayman Islands Helicopter Tours for a helicopter ride over the beautiful Grand Cayman Islands. Are you ready, Dave?
Oh, I'm ready. It's gonna be epic. So one of the things you have to do when you come here to the Cayman Islands is definitely come out to Stingray City. You get to hold them, feed them, and get up and close with these beautiful creatures. And I also recommend if you're gonna do it, you gotta come with Cayman Luxury Charters. It's really great. They have a beautiful skidoo on the back, and they really help you get up and close and have that personal experience. What a beautiful day here in the Cayman Islands.
We're up at the observation tower here in Camana Bay, and it's at 75 feet. It's the highest spot in the island, a great place to come for sunset. Grand Cayman is known as the culinary capital of the Caribbean, and the best way to sample all the food is to take the flavor tour.
Take the ferry to Caibo.
Starfish Point, and I have a sea star in my hand. Starfish aren't actually fish, they're sea stars. It's a whole different thing.
Echinoderms.
Canodomes?
Echinoderms.
Echinoderms.
Derms.
Derms, I don't know.
They don't have a skeleton, the skin acts as a skeleton.
So you can touch the starfish and lift them a little bit, but do not lift them out of the water. Just brought him out to the deep water. So he's safe. In Camana Bay, and Chef Johnny is putting on a show for us. We're having teppanyaki at the table experience tonight, and it's already so much fun.
Take a bioluminescence tour with Cayman Kayaks. It's the only eco-friendly tour showcasing these light organisms by electric boat, causing no damage to the fragile creatures.
We're off to explore the Crystal Caves here in Cayman Islands. Let's go. We got to explore a lot of caves here in the Crystal Caves, and it's pretty amazing because they're pretty diverse, and there's a lot of stalactites and stalagmites here. What a fantastic tour! All aboard!
Strange how princesses and kings lose it all, sawdust in the wind. Oh, I say, come on, people like you and me, we'll be builders for eternity. Each is given a bag of tools of shapeless man and a book of rules. Oh, shapeless mess, and a book of rules, and a book of
How the rain is falling from the sky. I know the sun will be only with us for a while. But I say,
Come on, people like you and me will be builders for eternity.
ancients give her a bag of tools.
Shapeless mess, and a book of rules. Pa 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 pa. Pa 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 pa.
All aboard!
Montserrat is known as the Emerald Isle of the Caribbean because of our Irish heritage. Many of our families have last names such as Mead and O'Garrow and Allen. Montserrat is the only nation outside of Ireland which celebrates St. Patrick's Day as a national holiday. In fact, we make an entire celebration of it and party for more than 1 week every March. In December 2012, we hosted our 50th Cultural Festival, almost doubling our population of 5,000. It featured music from our traditional groups such as masquerades and string band, calypso pageants and parades. We have come a long way since volcanic eruptions began in 1995 and we have far to go. Presently, Montserrat receives aid from the United Kingdom, which constitutes more than 50% of the annual recurrent and capital budget. The government is the major employer, and efforts are being made to encourage enterprise development with special financing programs. The government of Montserrat has a goal and is working towards it. By 2020, 50% of our revenue should come from the private sector. Is this possible, considering we have now been living with an active volcano for 18 years? We believe it is. The Montserrat Development Corporation has been established to lead the creation of a new town center for the island since our capital of Plymouth was lost in volcanic eruptions in 1997. Over the next 7 years, we plan to build a new city in Little Bay with neighboring port facilities to improve our transportation options for commercial and private access and to encourage business growth. To learn more about Montserrat, find us online at visitmontserrat.com or investmontserrat.com.
in the graves of this other Emerald Isle lie the bones of Ryans and Rileys, Dailies and Sweeneys, Chewits and O'Garas, names as Irish as the Shamrock. But they're not the remains of white Irishmen. Here lie black slaves and their descendants. The story behind this strange legacy is a hidden, or at least a forgotten chapter in Ireland's history. It's the story of slaves who toiled for Irish masters, who were driven by Irish overseers, who rose against those Irish owners. But by an irony of history, many were to die bearing the names of their oppressors, Irish names, still commonplace here today, 300 years after they were first heard on Montserrat. And they're here because carried to the New World were the conflicts of the old and the divisions between Catholic Irish and Protestant English. The first Irish to land on Montserrat were Catholics, expelled from nearby St. Kitts by the British governor. As news spread of a Catholic haven in the Caribbean, more Irish came from Virginia, where they too had been victims of religious persecution. Within the next decades, from Britain and Ireland, more came. Servants, political prisoners, vagrants, men, women, and children from among the poor and their institutions. Craftsmen came, and perhaps some too who had been freed from their period of indenture, came to Montserrat in search of a new life. Three centuries on, what is an Irishman today to make of the strange legacy which those early settlers left?
My heavenly Mayflowers, I dreamed that paradise were made for two. You're my paradise, so cruel. I dreamt about your blue eyes. Say just because you're mine, sweetly I need my heavenly Mayflowers. I dreamed that paradise were made for two. You're my paradise, so cruel. I dreamt about your blue eyes. Say just because you're mine.
All aboard!
I was born and raised down in Alabama on a farm way back up in the woods. I was so ragged that folks used to call me Patches. Papa used to tease me about it, of course deep down inside he was hurt because he'd done all he could. My papa was a great old man. I can see him with a shovel in his hand. See, education he never had. He did wonders when the times got bad. The little money from the crops he raised barely paid the bills we made. Oh, life had kicked him down to the ground when he tried to to get up, life would kick him back down. One day, Papa called me to his dying bed, put his hands on my shoulders, and in tears he said, Patches, I'm depending on your son to pull the family through. My son, it's all left up to you. 2 days later, Papa passed away, and I became a man that day. So I told Mama I was gonna quit school, but she said that was Daddy's strictest rule. So every morning before I went to school, I fed the chickens and I chopped wood too. Sometimes I felt that I couldn't go on. I wanted to leave, just run away from home. But I would remember what my daddy said, with tears in his eyes on his dying bed. He said, Patches, I'm depending on you, son. I've tried to do my best. It's up to you to do the rest. Then one day a strong rain came and washed all the crops away. And at the age of 13, I thought I was carrying the weight of the whole world on my shoulders. And you know, Mama knew what I was going through, 'cause every day I had to work the fields, 'cause that's the only way we got our meals. See, I was the oldest of the family, and everybody else depended on me. Every night I heard my mama pray, Lord, give him strength to make another day. Though years have passed and all the kids are grown, the angels took Mama to a brand new home. Lord knows, people, I shedded tears, but my daddy's voice kept me through the years, saying, Patches, I'm depending on your son to pull the family through. My son, it's all left up to you. Oh, I can still hear Papa's voice say, Patches, I'm depending on your son. I've tried to do my best. It's up to you to do the rest. I can still hear Papa when he said, Patches, I'm depending on your son to pull the family through. My son, it's all left up to you.
All aboard!
is a small country with a big personality, strong history and vibrant culture. Surrounded by turquoise waters and blue skies, we have sights to take your breath away. Our majestic mountains, waterfalls and lakes, just to name a few. Call me biased, but Grenada has the best beaches in the world, like this one, Grandad's Beach. We have many beaches, white sands and crystal blue waters. You can't come to Grenada and don't visit Grandad's Beach? No way, you have to visit Grandad's Beach. 2 miles of white sands to swim, snorkel, sunbathe or do whatever you please. But we take pride in keeping our beaches clean, so you know, no littering please. Now under these waters lies a whole new world. Between our sister Isle Carriacou, we have over 50 dive sites. So diving in Grenada offers something for everyone. From healthy colorful, easy to reach shallow waters for the diver who wants something a little more relaxed, to something a little more challenging like exploring one of our 15 shipwreck sites, including the famous Bianca Sea, known locally as the Titanic of the Caribbean. And of course, there's the haunting beauty of the world's famous, and by the way, first ever underwater sculpture park. That's a definite one of the can't miss list of things to do. George, Matthew, Frederick. No guys, they're not names. Well, at least not of persons. But they're names of our ancient forts, still keeping watch over us, of what they say is the most beautiful and graceful capital in the entire Caribbean, St. George's. But who are we to argue? Come and see for yourselves now. And when the need for some refreshments call, you can visit the only rum distillery in the whole Caribbean that still uses the traditional methods to produce the unique product that they have. And nestled among the trees in the secret north of the island, the magical cocoa plantations there, where you can discover the beauty of organic and fair trade products, and spend the day drinking delicious chocolate tea like we call it, and eating it too for that matter. You simply won't be able to resist. It's so delicious. Talking about eating, oil down. Nobody can copy that. That's our national dish, Grenada's national dish. This one-pot delicacy embodies our heritage with culture, with friendliness and joy. Each ingredient brings with it its own story. It's part of our history, our passion, and our love for socialization. Watch now. No get-together in Grenada is a get-together without a pot of oil down. Breadfruit, dashing, and fig, that's what we call green bananas. Now this is just my opinion, right? But you can't make oil down without meat. You must have some pigtail, little salt beef, crab, or even some wild meat. Welcome to Grenada, the spice of the Caribbean, floating in the perfect sea, safe, welcoming, unspoiled, and filled to the brim of things to entice you, fascinate you, and inspire you, and guaranteed to live in your memory forever. Welcome to Grenada.
All aboard! You're my love, you're my angel, you're the girl of my dreams. I'd like to thank you for waiting patiently, yeah, yeah. Daddy's home, your daddy's home to stay. in your eyes, yeah. Daddy's home. Your daddy's home to stay. It wasn't on a Sunday, Monday and Tuesday went by. It wasn't on a Tuesday afternoon. All I could do was cry. But I made a promise that you treasure. I bring it back home to you. Oh, I've waited for this moment to be by your side. Your best friend Ron told me you had teardrops in your eyes, yeah. Daddy's home. Your daddy's home to stay. Yeah. Daddy's home to stay. I'm not 1,000 miles away. Daddy's home to stay. And I'm gonna be here, come with me.
All aboard!
Welcome to our twin island state of Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago is famous for steel pans, carnival, limbo, gorgeous beaches, and lush greenery. We are also famous for doubles, roti, and our world-famous pilau. Please watch the video coming up next to learn so much more about this twin island state.
A brief history of Trinidad and Tobago.
The Amerindians. The Amerindian cultures of the Caribbean grew out of the tropical forest Indian culture. They extended all the way from the upper Amazon basin in Peru to Venezuela to the West Indies. The two major language families were called the Caribs and the Arawaks. The Arawaks were known to be more peaceful and settled into farming communities. The Caribs were described as being warlike. They moved around more and were never as civilized as the Arawaks. Historical records show that several different tribes of Amerindians populated Trinidad for as many as 6,000 years before the arrival of Columbus in 1498. The Amerindians were nature worshippers. They believed the Great Spirit was the God they could not see. They believed everything in nature had its own life and should be treated with respect. They had rituals for almost everything, including the birth of a child. Amerindian cuisine is still enjoyed today by many Trinidadians. Cuisines such as cassava bread, barbecued wild game, and corn pasteles. Parang music, which is popular at Christmas time in Trinidad, is a hybrid of Spanish and Amerindian musical styles. The African influence. Before the 1780s, there were just a few African slaves in Trinidad. The Amerindian population was rapidly shrinking. They were now being captured by the Spanish colonists, who were transporting them to other islands, such as Cuba, Haiti, Dominican Republic, and Jamaica. By the 1780s, plantations grew with the arrival of the French and other Catholic settlers like the Dutch. Sugar and cotton was being grown, and the need for African slave labor increased. More Africans from other islands arrived with their owners. They were first, second, third generation, born in the Caribbean. They were French or Spanish speaking and considered valuable by their masters. By 1797, the English had conquered Spain, and Trinidad was now under British rule. Soon, more slaves were brought in from the African continent. It was a hard life for the slaves. By 1834, slavery was completely abolished by the British Empire. On August 1st, 1838, full freedom was granted to the slaves in Trinidad and Tobago. As the older Africans passed away, the dominant population consisted of Creoles, people of African descent mixed with French, Spanish, and English. Tobago's experience, however, was slightly different to Trinidad's. Plantations were set up and sugar was the main crop. The majority of the population was African, and many of the planters did not live on the island. When slavery was abolished in 1834, the economy suffered, and because of this, in 1889, the British merged Tobago with Trinidad. Both islands gained independence from England in 1962. Today, the African influence is still present in our music, dance, religion, language, and food. Robust stews and one-pot comfort foods have been refined to create signature dishes like pilau, macaroni pie, and hearty soups. The East Indian and Asian influence. From the 1830s to 1917, after slavery was abolished, landowners imported thousands of laborers from China and the Middle East. Starting in 1845, they were replaced by laborers from India. At one point, over 170,000 laborers were working on vast sugarcane and cocoa plantations. These laborers would sometimes work up to 12 hours in the hot sun under poor conditions. During World War II, large numbers of U.S. soldiers and sailors were posted to Trinidad to build and maintain military bases. Better roads were built and transportation improved. Many rural East Indians, for the first time, found sources of income outside of the cane field. Today, East Indians make up a little under half of the island's population. Trinidad's culture is heavily influenced by East Indian culture through festivals such as Diwali, the Festival of Lights, and Pagua or Holi. Also through foods such as roti and curries and various Indian desserts. In Trinidad and Tobago, a combination of cultures can be found across the islands. These influences are also present during the Carnival Festival, where a fusion of Amerindian, European, African, Middle Eastern, Asian, and East Indian heritage are all represented.
This was a brief history of Trinidad and Tobago.
Trini, I want to rumba, bounce to the soca. I want to tiny whiny, while your boom boom. 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 Why Miss Tiny? Roll back Miss Tiny. Why Miss Tiny? Roll back Miss Tiny. Tiny whiny, tell the committee I am a West Indian. I love plenty action. Since my arrival for carnival, like a whining machine in my system. I come to run, I come to jump, I come to. I want to rumba, bounce to the soca. I want to tiny whiny.